Hello my beautiful crafty friends. Today we are going to be doing some alcohol ink ornaments. I'm going to show you a few different ways to make some very unique alcohol ink ornaments. So if you'd like to see how these are all done, then stay tuned and we'll do them together. Okay, so materials that we are going to need. I'm going to be using these two-part plastic ornaments that I got just from Amazon. I got them years ago, but they are still available on Amazon. So there's two parts, and they actually snap together. So you can fill them with things as well as decorate them. So the thing that I like about them with the alcohol inks is that you can do the alcohol inks on the inside, and then when you put it together, that means it's all protected inside and you don't have to spray the outside to seal it. So we're going to need a couple ink daubers and some pieces of felt. I'm just using a sheet of felt from the dollar store. It can be any color. I'm just using green so you can see it. And then you will need a little bit of alcohol blending solution, some 99%. Try and get 99%. 91% will work, but 99 is better. Isopropyl alcohol, and then obviously your alcohol inks. You will also need some score tape. You could also use painter's tape for this, but I'm finding that score tape works really, really well. Okay, so which one should we do first? Let's do the stripes. Okay, so this kind of like the same technique is kind of similar for all three of these ones. Okay, this one is just This one does duo. It's hard to see. This is actually purple and these are blue. I might do some more contrast in the next one. Okay, so let's do that. So my first step is going to be to add my score tape on the inside of my bauble. I'm going to try and get it in the center, as centered as possible. Make sure to leave yourself a tail so you have something to grab onto when you want to tear this back off. Okay, and then just smooth it down, make sure it's really into the creases, just like that. Perfect. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab one of my daubers and put a piece of felt on it. And I've just cut mine into squares. You can kind of trim around it if you so desire, but it's not really necessary. All right, and now we are going to, I think we're going to do this one green and red. So we're going to go with a couple different colors of green. I've got Bottle and Everglades. Okay, let's try those two and see how they play together. So I'm just going to put a few drops on here. I'm sure you've seen this part of the technique before. There's quite a few videos out there of this technique with a little bit of felt and blending solution. So this has definitely been done, but I'm kind of putting a little twist on it here. So we'll just add some blending solution, and then we are going to daub on the inside. You want to make sure that you've got alcohol ink right to the very edge of your sponge dauber so that you can really get to the very tippy tips. Now most videos that I've seen, people are always putting white first so you can really see the alcohol ink. It just depends on the look that you're going for. These will be a little bit translucent, but I'm kind of wanting that because I want you to be able to look all the way to the other side. And we're going to do quite a few layers of this to kind of build up the color. And every time you do this and let it dry, it creates just a few more like defined lines. So If you do it enough times, it just creates this super beautiful mottled pattern. You can blow on it to speed up the process, or you could use a puffer to speed up the process. Okay, so just do it as many times as you desire until you've got the concentration of color that you are looking for. And then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so once you have got your desired look, you can grab the end of the score tape and rip it off like you're ripping off a band-aid, and it should leave a very beautiful, clear, defined line. Now you can leave it like this if you so desire and use a Posca pen or a paint pen. These are just 3 different brands. We've got a Krylon, this one is Pen Touch, and then Posca. All 3 of them will work to draw a defined line on the inside, and then just do some doodling, some like Zen doodling or whatever, like I did on focus, this one here. So this is all on the inside, and I just did some like a Zen doodle kind of pattern. Okay, so that's one option. Or like I did in this one, which is hard to see. Let me see if I can take it apart and maybe I can show you easier. They do pop back apart, but they are, once they're together, they do stay together quite well, but you can pop them apart again. Okay, so now you might be able to see this easier, perhaps. So now that we've got the, one color here, the green, I'm gonna go with red in the center of the one that we're doing now. Okay, so to do that, you just put score tape along the line, but on the green, and just make sure that your alcohol ink is incredibly dry. Like it has to be, can't be tacky. It's got to be completely dry, or the score tape will actually peel back up some of the color, so you don't want that. So make sure that it is very dry. And I mean, alcohol ink stuff dries quite quickly, so you shouldn't have to wait too long. All right, and then as carefully as you can, line this up with the inside of your line. So I like to kind of bend it like this because I feel it's easier to get it in, especially if it's a curved surface. If it's a flat surface, it might be a little bit easier. And remember to leave that tail again. Okay, so I'm going to get my tape on where I want it, and then we'll continue. Okay, so now that I've got my tape down, I'm going to take some red. So normally you could not put red and green alcohol ink in the same thing because they would create mud. Same with like yellow and purple, or like there's a lot of colors that just don't play well together. But with this technique, you can, because they're not going to touch each other or blend together. So it's quite fun. I'll put some red pepper as well. So this is going to be the reds. I'm going to put a little bit of some alloy. I'll show you what the alloy does, just so you can see for yourself. This one is gilded. So it looks kind of cool, like on the inside, but then when you turn it over, it just doesn't translate. It's like you just kind of like doesn't, I guess because it sits on top, so you're not seeing it. You're just seeing the red layer below it, but you're not seeing it. So, I mean, if you want some alloys or mixatives, I would suggest putting those on the outside if you want to do it that way. Okay, so we're going to do this with both sides of this. You could also just use a paintbrush and paint it on if you prefer, to give a slightly different texture. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this dry, and then we'll take the tape off from this. Okay, so it took a bit of the green with it, but not enough to make me concerned. And you can, if you're very careful, you can just go in with the green again and just put a little bit back in there. If you're very careful. I'm just trying to make sure you can't see that tape line. Okay, perfect. And then the other one. This one does have a little oopsie right there. So just reintroducing a little bit more green, but making sure not to go into that red zone. So we've got our two pieces, and now as soon as this green is dry, I'm going to use one of those paint pens and just draw a couple lines just to define where the red meets the green. So I'm just going to put a couple lines there, and that's going to be it. You can also, just as a side note, you can use the paint pen on the inside of this before you put your tape down, and so then you'll have like a design in front of the alcohol ink. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the red. Not the red, I'm gonna go with the gold. A gold paint pen. And if you make any mistakes, you can always just take a little cotton bud with a tiny bit of isopropyl on it and just fix it up there. Go. Okay, so I'm just gonna do, oh, come on light. Just gonna do that to both sides. I'm gonna put some dots along the center as well, I think. Okay, now my lines aren't perfect, but I'm really okay with that. If you want them to be absolutely perfect, then you can always retape on the outside and do this. If you have really nice handwriting, you could write a word, Merry Christmas or something. I don't know if I'm really into my own handwriting, so I might not do that. You can do a little line of gold around the seam if you like, and then we're going to seal it. I'm also gonna paint the little, what do you call it? The doohickey where the ribbon hangs from? How you hang it? I don't know what it's called. Okay, so there is that one, and I think it looks very pretty. Basically the same technique that I did with this one. And then these two, I just did smaller stripes. So I used the smaller score tape, and then on both of these, instead of adding another color, when I pulled the score tape up, I just left it plain, like left it clear, and then added the design on the inside because there was no alcohol ink to interfere with that, so I could do the pen, the like metallic pens on the inside. Okay, so all of this is on the inside. I wanted to show you quickly how I did this. So this is a die cut out of silver paper, and then so I just did the one side in like a mottled blue, that same technique. I just took a piece of silver glitter paper. I put my score tape on the silver glitter side and then ran it through my die cutting machine using this Spellbinder Snowflakes die. So it's got 3 die cuts. Okay, and so they come out like this. So the score tape is on the front still, and then the sticky part is the silver side of the paper. So that way I can add it to the inside of one of these. So let me just take the tape backing off here. Okay, get it out of the die cut, and hopefully all the little bits just stay there. Yay! All the little bits are still in there, so that means I don't have to fight with it. Okay, and then I'm just going to add that onto the inside of my little bauble. Bauble's a great word. Bauble. Alright, and there we go. Now you've got your shiny silver side this way. I want to use one of the alloys. I want to use a silver alloy. So I'm going to do it on the outside. Make sure to shake up those alloys really, really well. Okay, I'm going to use my puffer. Just just to kind of move that alloy around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna add a bit more color to this. And I like to do it in layers. So you get a lot of like breaking up of the alloys and stuff. It's really cool. All right, so now we've got a teal and silver one. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show you was this one. Let me just give my hands a little rinse here. Okay, so this one, I just took score tape and did stripes going both ways and did some green alcohol ink, and then the other darker squares are just Posca pen. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one more of those just to show you. Hopefully you're still with me here. Okay, so I just used a thinner score tape. Okay, so you want to get them both looking like that. So we've got 3 horizontal stripes and then 3 vertical stripes. So I'm going to do the other one and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my 2 baubles all ready to rock. So in this one I just did green on the both the insides. This time I'm going to go in with some little tiny mini daubers, which are just pencils, and I've just put a tiny bit of score tape on the end of each pencil, and I'm going to put a tiny little piece of felt on the end of each pencil. Okay, and now I'm going to try to create a rainbow. So I'm going to do a couple of these in red, and a couple in orange, a couple in yellow, etc., etc. You can also use the ink daubers. They don't hold the alcohol ink quite as well. It kind of soaks in a little bit, but just in case you don't have any pencils to use, you can use these in a pinch, although you won't be able to use them for other things afterwards, so just keep that in mind. Okay, perfect. You can go in with another layer of all the colors if you want to make it a little bit more pronounced. Okay, and then once the alcohol ink is dry, we can remove our tape. And if all is gone to plan, we've got some nice crisp lines. Oh, I didn't leave a handle on that one. Oh, there we go. Cool, now we've got our little checkerboard of color, and now we can go in with some Posca pen and define those lines. Got a couple little oopsies on this one, just tiny ones, so I'm going to clean them up with some alcohol. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, and now I'm just going to take a black Posca and I'm just going to draw in those lines. Now, I'm definitely not a pro at drawing lines perfectly straight, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm just kind of going and outlining everywhere that the score tape was. Oh, sorry, I've realized I'm off camera here. Trying to do it so precisely that I'm getting it quite close to myself. These lines are definitely not straight. Okay, and then that's what you've got. Now you can add a little bit more, depth to this by coloring in some of those squares black, which is what I'm gonna do. I just like the look of that. So with that same Posca marker, I'm just gonna color in some of them. You could also do different colored Poscas. If you don't even have alcohol inks, you can do all of this with Posca pens. So there's another idea. You don't even need alcohol inks. If your Posca pen is doing like a streaky job, you can always, once it dries, you can go in again with the same Posca and do it over again. Okay, I'm gonna finish drawing in some of these squares and then I'll show you the finished result. Okay, and here is the finished result. I think it looks so cool. I love it. And I love that when you tilt it, you can see like the different colors that come out. I just think it's awesome. You can do this on just a flat ornament as well. You don't have to have the 2-part. I just like the way they look. So there we have it. A whole bunch of very different looking bulbs that all kind of have the same base technique, but they all look different and they're all so pretty. I just love them. Yes, I'm very happy with this idea and I hope that you will give it a try. All right, I love you all very much and I will see you again very soon. Oh, actually, I just wanted to show you some other ornaments that I made. These ones are done with acrylic paint pouring. And I think they are so cool. This one turned out really well. So if you are interested in seeing how I did these, then please let me know in the comments below. And I will do a video showing how I did these. I made a lot of them and they were very much fun. Alright, that is all for today and I hope you are having as fun of a day as I am right now. I love you all and I will see you again soon. Big hugs. Bye!